So we are going to be creating lip sync animation. One of the things that I like to break down animation into is two major categories. One is locomotion, and the other is performance. So in locomotion, usually that's like your full body, large actions. Think about locomotion, moving, running, acrobatics, fighting, just physical action where you're just moving through space. Generally speaking, large motion. Um, so that's one type of motion, and that one works really well when you're doing like straight ahead, or you generally want to try and create like a dynamic sort of sense. The other style is performance, and that means basically acting. Typically, that will be dialogue or just pantomime, so gesturing without necessarily talking. And typically, what that ends up meaning is you will if you ever see someone talk, right, they'll as they're talking, they'll move their arms into a certain position, they'll hold that position for a little bit to kind of accentuate whatever they're saying, and then they'll move their arms into another position, then they'll hold that position for a second, and then they'll move to another position. If you've ever watched like a politician talk or someone like doing a speech at a pedestal, you'll see that they'll move their arms in a certain way. There's people that read body language and like, oh, this is like they're holding something physically, and this is them gesturing, saying it's everybody or whatever. But that's another style of animation. So depending on what you're trying to do, you might approach them differently. So for me, I actually find performance a little bit easier because what I'll do is I'll just create a pose for each main aspect of the line of dialogue, whatever word is being emphasized, and then you just have to blend between each one of those poses, and then just do moving holds, meaning like you hold the pose but you move it slightly so it stays alive, um, and then you move along there. One of the things we're going to be using are Vizymes. So in 3D we will use phonemes, but here we use Vizymes. Vizymes basically just means that you have these predetermined mouth positions, and then you just swap between them to represent the different sounds that your mouth makes. And depending on the type of animation and what you're doing, you could have a whole slew of them, or you could only have a couple. I'm sure if you've ever watched like The Simpsons or any Saturday morning cartoon, Cartoon Network, whatever, you will probably seen that they'll just have these mouths and they just switch between all the different ones, and they just go back and forth and back and forth and switch them. That's basically how it works. Anime actually has a built-in system for this, using the frame picker, and it even has an auto lip sync, which works terribly. But I will be showing you how to do that in the assignment. So like I said, you're going to be creating a lip sync, and you can just follow this video tutorial on how to do it. And yeah, that would be it. So I look forward to seeing what you're doing, to see what you create. You're going to need to find a small audio clip. Don't grab anything too large. Just try to keep it small and simple. And it should be a pretty enjoyable project.